So as I realized that where I am actually finding myself in my mind, in my heart, in my spirit was not quite the right place. At the same time, I mentioned it in my posts, two of my friends, they were actively searching for truth and for God. One of the women is a Twinflame lady that I really looked up to, because in my mind, in my belief, she was one, that union that I was trying to reach with my so-called twin flame. And one more time, this is also part of the deception, to take you away from the true relationship with God and to kind of deceive you into this enchantment world of this amazing love union. But ultimately you are forced to go on the enlightenment path, on shadow work path, and 5D path. So that is the one that's the deceptive path. You're not going anywhere. You're actually just becoming part of the collective consciousness, which is, the purpose of that is to anything but Christ. So it's honestly an anti-Christ path. That claims that every path is the path to God. It is not. I'll share with you later how I realized it and how I felt it through my heart. So anyway, this lady, and also my coach that I was using for shadow work, and also like when I was struggling with this twin flame relationship issues, they abruptly quit posting stuff about this raising vibrations, 5D, twin flames, and they both started actively seeking God, and it brought them to Christ. And that's what prompted me to examine what is my belief system, what is my understanding of Jesus Christ. So this is the beginning of traveling back to the Lord of my heart. And I thank you, God, for loving me through all of this. How I was like a lost child. I wandered in the wrong directions, only to come back to you. I praise you, Lord. I praise you, Jesus Christ. You're the Lord of my heart, truly. And I am just very grateful to you. So as I was examining my relationship with Jesus, like I told you, I always believed in God, but I was, this time, I was too busy healing myself, enlightening myself, right? So when I did my examination of my belief system, I realized that I was mad at Jesus because I somehow believed that he was the one teaching me that I needed to be able to take suffering. Like in my relationship, the abusive relationship that I had, somehow I explained to myself that Jesus was at fault, that he taught me that suffering is the way of life, and this is, that was his fault. Can you believe it? So what happens next? Next, I just sincerely started learning more about him. So I told myself, let me just understand why these two women are talking about Christ. What is this Christ deal? What's going on? So it naturally took me back to the movie that my mom showed to me when I was a teenager, and it's called Jesus of Nazareth. And so I just started rewatching it and kind of having conversation with my spiritual teacher about how I really don't get it, because I did all this shadow work, and shadow work was awesome because I learned why I was behaving the way I was behaving. Like my subconscious, I figured out that me not having a father was that fear of abandonment, and it was driving my life experiences and so forth. So I was really not really understanding what is this deal about Jesus. So as I'm having conversations with her about this, I'm rewatching the movie. It is a long movie, but I highly recommend it to you. because it just shows his life, and you just get to see who he is, who he was, what he was about, what he was teaching, how he was living his life. And so you get to make your own judgment on the character of Jesus Christ, on what he really was about, and what was he teaching, preaching, and what was the ultimate end of the movie is, his crucifixion and his resurrection. So in the conversation with my teacher, when I was really still mad about this deal, being upset that he's the one that taught me to suffer, I got part of my answer, and it then made sense to me. So as we're talking about it, and my sister in Christ, my teacher, my friend, she tells me, he never taught this. He never taught you to suffer. What he said is that you have to love others how you love yourself. And so I had to kind of sit on that thought and think about it, and then I realized, but that is actually true. He never taught me to suffer. He suffered on that cross because he died for us, that he came here to bring the good news, to teach us gospel, to teach us about how to be a good human with highest ethics, highest morals, how to love each other, how to live in harmony with with God and with others. But he never taught us to suffer. He suffered because that was his life journey in pure love for us. So that's how I discovered that religion and faith are two different things. So religion is pretty much when people try to manipulate other people by the use of religion and by enforcing certain things on them, and that's how people get turned off to faith. They assume religion and faith is the same thing, and it is not. Because in my case now, I am authentically searching for truth, right? Because I know something is off in my enlightened world. Something is not quite right. And so I'm authentically, desperately, there is another word, searching for truth. So I am healing my faith, not religion, my faith.